Ladies and gentlemen, night owls, sports junkies, and truth seekers tuning in from the boring, ordinary earth, the majestic, flat earth. Watch your step at the edge, folks, and the mysterious hollow earth where you're probably dodging mole people. Welcome to the 6th Hour Podcast. I'm Ben Maller, your overnight sports talk renegade, bringing you hot takes, wild theories, and a little chaos from 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. West Coast time. Now spilling into this podcast for those of you who can't get enough of my golden pipes. This is the show where we tackle sports, life, and the stuff that makes you question everything. Sometimes even the stuff that makes you squirm. Big news off the top. I've made a major roster move. You know, Danny Garite, a.k.a. Danny G Radio, the guy who keeps this operation from sounding like a karaoke night gone wrong. Yeah, I fired him before this podcast even launched. Thought I could just grab a mic, ramble like a prophet in the desert, and you'd all eat it up. Spoiler, you didn't. Crickets. So, I brought in Edmund Dallas, Steamboat Willie Garcia. Yeah, that guy. Let's just say Eddie made me more uncomfortable than a Knicks fan at a playoff game. Last episode, he had me sweating like I was calling him in overtime with no script. So, Eddie's out for now, and I'm thrilled to welcome back the man, the myth, the producer extraordinaire, Danny G Radio. Danny, get in here and tell the folks how it feels to be back on the 6th Hour.
Yo, Big Ben, thanks for the love, man. Greetings to all the listeners out there on the boring, ordinary earth, the majestic flat earth, y'all still holding it down, and the mysterious hollow earth, probably chilling with some ancient vibes. I'm Danny Garite, better known as Danny G Radio, and I'm pumped to be back, co-hosting the 6th Hour with my boy Ben Maller. Yeah, you can me, Ben, but I ain't holding grudges. We're out here grinding, just like on our other podcast, the 5th Hour, where we don't get paid a dime either. Doesn't matter. This is about the love of the game, the mic, and the Maller Militia. I'm ready to bring the heat, keep your hot takes in check, and make sure this podcast doesn't crash and burn. Let's do this.
Danny, you're a saint for coming back, man. Seriously, thank you. I was lost without you, like the Lakers without LeBron. Eddie, that homo, was a disaster. Guy had me so rattled, I forgot the spread on the WNBA All-Star game. He's got charisma, sure, but it was like working with a live wire in a thunderstorm. You, Danny G, you're the steady hand, the guy who makes the Maller magic happen. I'm grateful, brother. Now, let's get to today's topic, and folks, buckle up. This one is going to stir the pot. Before we dive in, a quick apology to our listeners across all the earths. Boring, flat, and hollow. This is a sensitive topic, and we're not here to offend, but to provoke thought and wrestle with big ideas. I saw a poll on X by XJackson1330 asking whether African Americans have souls. Yeah, I know, it's a wild question, but think about it. The U.S. has seen millions of deaths over its history. Slavery, natural causes, accidents, and yes, violent crimes, including gang violence and what some call black-on-black violence. Yet, despite all that tragedy, you don't hear ghost stories about African American spirits haunting the living or seeking revenge on their killers. No tales of spectral justice, no campfire stories of restless souls. So I've got a theory. Maybe African Americans don't have souls to begin with, so there's nothing left to haunt. That's why we don't hear these stories. Danny G, I know you got a different take. Lay it on me. Why am I wrong?
Whoa, Ben, you're coming out swinging with that one, huh? All right, let's do this. First off, shout out to the listeners. Ordinary Earth, Flat Earth, Hollow Earth, y'all are the real MVPs for sticking with us through this wild ride. Ben, your theory's got more holes than a Raiders defense, and you're saying African Americans might not have souls because we don't hear ghost stories? Come on, man. My take is simple. African Americans, like all people, are inherently good by nature. When they pass, whether from the horrors of slavery and oppression or from the tragedies of violence, they go straight to paradise. Of course, heaven has their names on the VIP list. No one questions the power of God. That's why you don't hear about hauntings in the first place. A soul at peace never haunts or lingers, chasing some vengeful path that was never meant to be theirs. Absence of ghost stories doesn't mean African Americans don't have souls. It reflects their inherent goodness, earning them a swift path to heaven. Ben, you're really pushing this no souls angle. Care to share what's really fueling your fixation on it?
Danny, you're preaching like you're auditioning for a sermon, but let's stick to the tape. Look, I'm not saying African Americans are less than anyone else. Don't twist my words. I'm just following the evidence, or lack thereof. Millions of deaths, centuries of history, and not a single credible ghost story tied to African American spirits? That's not just a coincidence. You go to any old plantation, any city street where tragedy struck, and you'll hear tales of haunted houses, vengeful spirits, Civil War soldiers, scorned lovers, you name it. But nothing about African American ghosts. If souls are universal, why the gap? My theory is not about goodness or badness. It's about what's left behind. If there's no soul, there's no ghost to stick around. Your paradise idea is sweet, but it assumes everyone's inherently good, and I'm not buying that. History's messy. Slavery, violence, all of it. If souls were there, some would linger, angry, seeking justice. So why is the supernatural silent, Danny?
Ben, you're out here playing ghost detective, but your logic's foggier than a San Francisco morning. The absence of ghost stories doesn't mean no souls. It means the souls aren't stuck in some purgatory loop like you see in horror flicks. The African Americans, through all the pain, slavery, lynchings, modern violence, have carried a resilience and goodness that transcends this world. Their souls don't hang around haunting old plantations or street corners because they're not bound by earthly grudges. They're in a better place, Ben. You're assuming every soul's got to be vengeful, but maybe their strength is in letting go. And let's flip this. Ghost stories are cultural. Who's telling them? Who's writing them down? The dominant narratives often ignored African American experiences, so maybe the stories exist and you just haven't heard them. You're banking on a gap in folklore to say something profound about souls. That's a stretch, man. Why is your theory more plausible than mine?
Danny, you're dodging the question with all that feel-good talk. I'm not saying African Americans didn't suffer or weren't resilient. Nobody's arguing that. But ghost stories aren't just cultural. They're universal. Every group's got them. Irish banshees, Native American spirits, you name it. Yet, with all the tragedy tied to African American history, slavery alone was millions of souls lost. You'd expect at least a few tales of restless spirits, especially with the violence of that era. Nothing. Zip. My theory is not a stretch, it's Occam's razor. The simplest explanation for no ghosts is no souls. Your paradise angle assumes everyone's a saint, but human nature's not that clean. Some souls, if they existed, would stick around mad as hell. You're banking on a heavenly express lane, but that's faith, not evidence. Where's the proof your theory holds up, Danny?
Proof? Ben, you're the one claiming a whole group of people might be soulless based on a lack of campfire tales. That's not evidence, that's a hunch, dressed up as logic. My proof's in the pattern. African Americans have endured centuries of injustice, yet their cultural legacy, music, faith, community, screams hope and redemption. That's not soulless, that's soulful. If their spirits aren't haunting your old plantations, maybe it's because they're above it, not absent, and you're ignoring how ghost stories get passed down. The ones we hear are filtered through who had the power to write history. African American oral traditions might have those stories, but they didn't make it to your Halloween specials. My theory's grounded in their resilience and goodness, not some cosmic loophole. You're swinging for the fences, Ben, but you're missing the ball. Why's your no souls take more than just a provocative hot take?
All right, Danny, you're bringing the passion, but you're still dancing around the core. I'm not denying resilience or culture. Nobody's questioning that. I'm saying the supernatural record's silent, and that's a data point. Ghost stories across cultures come from tragedy, revenge, unfinished business. With the scale of African American suffering, millions dead, from slavery to modern violence, you'd expect something in the lore, even if it's buried in oral histories. There's nothing mainstream or obscure. My no souls theory isn't a jab, it's a hypothesis to explain the silence. Your everyone's good angle leans on faith, not facts, and it doesn't account for why no souls, good or bad, linger. We'll keep this going, folks, but for now, agree to disagree. To the listeners on Boring, Flat, and Hollow Earth, hit us up with your takes. Danny, glad you're back, man. Let's keep this fire burning.
Ben, you're wild, but I'm here for it. Thanks for having me back. And to the listeners, keep rocking with us. Your theory's a swing and a miss, but I'll stick with the idea that goodness wins out. Let's take it to the fans. What do y'all think?
Well, Maller Militia and listeners across the majestic flat Earth, inside the mysterious hollow Earth, and around the boring old normal Earth, this is it for this episode. A big thank you to Danny G Radio for coming back, producing the show, and not holding a grudge. Don't need his non-ghost to haunt me after he died. I think he has no soul too, but then again, his mom is white. He might have half a soul. Our sponsor for today is the National Museum of American Negro History and Cultural in D.C. Yeah, that ugly brown one. They've got Obama's inauguration suit, looking sharper than my best tie. And the Sweet Home Cafe, soul food so good you'll swear your auntie's in the kitchen frying up that cornbread.
Best part? It's furry, cheaper than Ben's haircut, and that's saying something. Right on the National Mall, open daily. Check enemahc.edu for details.
So ditch the tourist traps and visit this gem. Tell them Ben and Danny sent you. Get there now and feel the history come alive.